No matter your age, your plan for retirement can start today. From the News Channel 5 Network, this is the Retirement Report.
Good morning. Welcome to the Retirement Report. I'm Hank Parrott, your host. All right, we've got some interesting things going on today in the legal world that I want you to be made aware of. And it's kind of funny the way it worked out, because we had the show planned around how to review a will, and we were going to go through a checklist with you, and then also how to review estate planning documents in general for trusts and powers of attorney and the like, because we're seeing errors. And when I say we, that's myself and stuff that comes through my office, and my guest today, Russ Cook with Russ Cook and Associates. Russ is a board-certified estate planning attorney. He's going to share some stories with us. We're going to talk about this decision that just came down from the Supreme Court regarding inherited IRAs. You know, one of the things we've talked about in the past is the importance of utilizing trust as a way of protecting assets for your beneficiaries, and we've used a number of examples. This happens to be one. So we get the fun of saying, "I told you so," this morning, right? Because we've been talking about this for a few years, and it had been winding through the courts, and it had been some conflicting things. Well, the Supreme Court finally put into law now what we had been warning against. And there's still ways to protect yourself, and this is again the importance of estate planning when it comes to your overall plan for retirement, is making sure that things are going to benefit your family more so than having these things at risk and going out to others than your family. Now, one of the things, I had some folks come in this past week, and we were going through a will, and one of the things on the will was about how they wanted to leave stuff to each other. And as I'm reading through these and doing a quick review, and then a lot of times I'll send this, documents over to Russ for review as well. And as I was going through it, it was interesting. I'm looking through and I'm saying, oh, there's a thing here about, how the cars are going to be handled. So it's saying, the house goes this way. When I die, I want my house to go to my surviving spouse. All right, so for the husband, he was leaving things to his wife, and for the wife to the husband. But as I get down into the document, I'm saying, wait a minute, this looks like it's giving away stuff to your children while your spouse is still alive. Is that what you intended? I mean, sometimes people want to give things to their children at the first death, and that's fine, just so that's in fact what they intend to do. And in this situation, that was not, and so what we wanted to do was talk to them about, well, how do we fix that, okay? Let's make sure that it's done the way you want it done. And that's what we're going to offer up to you today, by the way. We're going to offer up a free review of your estate planning documents. You'll be able to call my office at 376-5325 and get both me and Russ together to review your estate planning documents, whether it's wills, powers of attorney, trust, and the like, and this won't cost you anything. All right, we'll get into that in a moment, but first we're going to go to the phone and talk to Charles. Charles, welcome to the Retirement Report.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Fine, thank you. My question is a video will legal in the...
Well, that is a good question. I think that if you go strictly by the code, it is telling us that the will has to be in the testator's handwriting. And even though it may not be notarized or witnessed, the criteria is that the will be in the testator's handwriting. So I've not heard of a case that would stretch the term handwriting to mean actually a video recording. So I probably would not, to be on the side of caution, I would probably say no, because of the fact that, you can't, with all the digital effects that they have these days, who knows what might come out in a video recording. Whereas with a handwriting, you can bring in a handwriting analyst and of course the witnesses to the decedent's handwriting as well, to verify that the entire document is in the decedent's handwriting, so every piece of it is exactly what they wanted.
And one of the difficulties, yeah, I could see where it would run into, as Russ was saying, imagine, I mean, we've done things on putting together shows in the past where you go in and you can edit. So you can take a video or a CD or a DVD, and you can go into an editing booth and you can take out pieces, you know, you can put things in different order, you can change it around in such a way that who's to say that the document is authentic, or that in this situation not document, but that the video would be authentic and hadn't been, in fact, had someone do some changes to it. As Russ said, with a written document, you've got some safety features. There's one of those being witnesses, which goes to another question. Charles, have you done a video will, by the way?
No, I was thinking about one.
Okay. We have talked about, in this, Russ, where video can be of benefit. If you do a will, and let's say you've got witnesses, but you're concerned that there might be someone that might contest that will. This is where we've talked about the possibility of videotaping someone in a meeting with their attorney, where we're establishing, as a means, it's belt and suspenders. This is really going well beyond what one might normally do, but if there was a big concern here, it might help with regard to establishing competency. And we've talked about that type of thing before. So this is a way, you know, I would see an attorney, I would make sure the document's drafted correctly, that you know, you're not going to have any problems, making it more difficult, at least, if and anyone can go into probate and contest it. But if the document's done well, you've got the witnesses, you've done all the different procedural things necessary, their likelihood of succeeding in that, in contesting it is reduced greatly.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to add on that, I would say that the only time I've really given clients the advice of using a video is in describing their personal property and how they want it distributed. In other words, you want a will that basically states everything is going to my wife, and if she's passed, then my kids. But you can leave a provision in the will that says, you know, I'll create some sort of memorandum outside the will. It's not binding, it's not testamentary, it's not legally enforceable, but it is your intent on how you want certain things to be distributed. And it would be limited just to the personal items, because sometimes people have a hard time describing, oh, you know, grandma's ring and things like that. But if you have that on a video, then it will clear up any ambiguities. So that might be the one place where I could say a video would work.
Okay.
All right, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Good question. All right. You know, one of the things that we get into with when it comes to documents is that when you sit down sometimes with an attorney, or if you, in particular, I've seen so many people try a do-it-yourself approach of, and legally you can write out your own will. However, you know, legally I suppose I can perform surgery on myself, or I can do other things that might not be in my best interest. It's not
fix your brakes.
Yeah, exactly. For me, that would definitely be a problem. Don't work on the car. Now, when it comes to your legal documents, this is where having someone that understands what the code, what the law says, and there are rules about certain things that should be in there that, again, this goes to potentially avoiding problems later as it goes through probate. This can also come in with the trust. One of the things Russ talked about too is there are two parts to this. One is to make sure that, in fact, and this is the area, is not so much the legality that we find is much of a problem as it is with the fact that what you thought you had put in the document, what you had intended to be in there, whether you wrote that yourself. Like I had a gentleman that tried to write his own trust. And I asked him, well, what's the, you know, why did you do this yourself? He went down, literally went down and looked, I think he went to probate court, as I recall, though nor wouldn't see trust there, but oh, that's what it was, that's how he did it. He was looking at probate records and he was looking at testamentary wills, or testamentary trusts created through wills. And so he wrote up, and I asked him, well, why did you do this, you know, what was one of your reasons for doing it? He said, avoid probate. I was like, well, that's not going to work. You know,
because it's only created through the will at death,
Right.
which requires probate.
So this was an example. It's like, well, you know, that's not going to happen here. And then the other and I said, you really want to go see an attorney? I said, I can have, you know, I've got an attorney. He'll review your document. He can tell you what the pros and cons of the document are, what kind of things might need to be changed, amended, whatever. Or if it's fine, he'll say, you know, it's fine. Okay, you won't need to do anything. These are the kind of things, if you're going to spend the money and go to all this trouble, and the whole purpose of it is to protect yourself, your family, and make sure that your stuff goes in the way you want, then it's real important that this document be done correctly. Now, we're going to take a break. When we come back, though, one of the things that I want to jump into are some of the errors that we've run across in trusts as well. And we're going to show you how you can review a checklist of things you could do, but also, again, make available to you how you can bring your documents in, have Russ and I review them at no charge to you, and let you see if, in fact, what you believe to be true is true. So join us. We'll be right back on the Retirement Report.